talk my shit? Talk that sure I can. Cause ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it anyway.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit. Say it, talk that shit.
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Fiends. I'm your host, Rita, aka the NFL Chick.
And it's your boy, Uncle Mooka.
And we are giving you the hottest topics of the DMV and the nation.
Alright, so did you enjoy your Thanksgiving?
I did. How about you?
Definitely after that win from the Ravens, I did.
Absolutely.
That's all I needed. I just needed that. But judging from that game, is there anything that you saw different from them?
I like the fact that Jacoby Jones is definitely getting more involved in the offense. And I love that now you have two speedsters. You can't double team Torrey Smith and double team Jacoby. It's just not possible. So we're starting to see the offense evolve a little bit. This is what we planned on seeing from the offense, I believe, early on. And then he got hurt week one, obviously, right. And he's been out. So he's slowly getting incorporated back into the game, even still. And now he's back to regular playtime. I believe he's 100% healthy. The run game obviously is still not that great, but if you have two guys like Torrey and Jacoby that can get the ball and they can get past the secondary, it opens up the run game.
Definitely.
And so I like what I saw. I like that Jacoby was into it in the offense and obviously in special teams.
Yeah.
So it's just been really good to see how much potential this offense has, and this is what we expected from them, particularly from the passing game.
Right, and I really think with Dennis Pitta coming back, it's going to add that red zone element, because as you've seen, we were able to sustain drives against Pittsburgh. We just couldn't punch it in.
Absolutely.
But he now provides that red zone threat. So what are you expecting from them going into this Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings?
I do expect Dennis Pitta to be back. I don't expect him to have a huge role. I expect him to probably be a decoy for a little bit, get a couple passes. He's just gradually getting back into, the offense.
Right.
I don't think that people should expect much from him. But just him being on the field gives defenses a different look to what they want to do.
Right.
And I expect them to win this game. I think that the Ravens are extremely hard to beat at home. Matt Castle is supposed to be playing, which is big. He's never had success against the Ravens. So I'm expecting a huge win against the Minnesota Vikings.
Me too. I'm expecting 27-13. All right, with that being said, there was a huge college football game, Auburn versus Alabama, this past Saturday, in which it went down to a thriller, to where as though Nick Saban decided to try to kick the field goal.
So I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it out. All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see. I cannot believe it. 34-28. And we thought a miracle at Jordan Hare was amazing. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Chris Davis just ran it 109 yards.
Why? Why did he do that?
Well, the idea of trying to kick the field goal wasn't too big of an issue with me. Because Nick Saban, in his mind, he was thinking, I just want to get out of here. And with 1 second left, I'm going to try to win this game. Where he went wrong is that he had linebackers and linemen out there. He had no one with speed, no cornerbacks, no safeties, no one out there in case the guys tried to run the ball back. And that's what we saw in this game. A lot of people want to say he was a little too arrogant. I don't think that was it at all. That was a hostile environment. They played them down to the wire. They had scored, I believe, with 30-something seconds left to tie the game. And so Nick Saban's thought process was, I want to get out of here, and if I have 1 second, I'm going to just attempt the win. Where they went wrong with special teams, and that's what burned them.
Now talk about the player A.J. McCarron in that game, even in that loss. I mean, that 99-yard touchdown pass. I mean, now granted, I really think, and we'll get to him in the next part, but I really think that helped him to persuade some voters possibly for the Heisman. I mean, he's had a good year, and I think his draft stock has pretty much increased, but talk to his play.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. it hasn't gone up. People like what AJ McCarron does. I think by default, he became a brief front runner because we didn't know with Jameis Winston what was going to happen. Was he be charged? And then Manziel obviously had a bad game, and that kind of pushed him up a little bit. But, you know, AJ McCarron is extremely well quarterback for Alabama. He's very smart. But the problem is that he doesn't have the arm strength, and a lot of people think that if you put anybody in that kind of offense, they're going to excel the way A.J. McCarron does. So that's no disrespect to McCarron. He's doing his job, but he's definitely not a Heisman winner. And if he did win the Heisman, I'd be shocked.
So even with this loss to Alabama, are we still expecting to see Alabama, Florida State in the BCS?
No, that's not going to happen. If Ohio State beats Michigan State handedly, because they have to beat them handedly. It can't be a close game like they had against Michigan last week. They're going to be against Florida State in the national championship. However, if they lose Ohio State and Auburn wins, I think you're going to see Auburn jump up to the national championship with Florida State, which I believe to be the better game, because I don't think Ohio State has a chance.
Stay tuned for that. And speaking of Florida State, the news came across boards today that famous Jameis Winston, quarterback of Florida State, was not charged for the rape scandal that happened well over a year ago. You know, this whole story was shaky to me from the beginning. I mean, she described him as 5'11". Clearly, he's not that. Then the cops never talked to him. If you report rape, isn't that something that's supposed to be taken seriously? So obviously, they would have went to talk to the person. That never happened. So now all of a sudden, an allegation comes out. And then, you know, we go through all the facts and find out, you know, his DNA was on her, but then there were stories of reports that there were other people's DNA on her as well. So my question is, why did this happen? And where did it really come from?
I really can't say. I mean, I think that because a year has gone by since this happened, it's just extremely vague. It's hard to comment on these types of things, and it's a sensitive topic. I feel for both of them. I feel for him because, you know, if he didn't do it, he's going through a process. You know, I feel for her because if she feels violated, if she felt violated, now she's learning that he's not going to be charged. So I just feel like that so much time has gone by that it's really hard to say and decipher what happened that night. And I think that if he didn't do it, I'm glad that, you know, for him it's over. If she did do it, you know, if he did do it, I feel for her and her family and what they have to go through. But, you know, the thing about this, and speaking in sports, is that it allows Florida State, when they beat Duke in the ACC championship, to go to the national championship, because had he not been available, I just find it hard to believe that the voters would have let Florida State be in the national championship. It's not the same team without him. So I think that that's what most people want. And again, I'm speaking specifically from a football standpoint, because, you know, this is a sensitive topic. I think that this is what people wanted. They want to see Florida State, because they have definitely been with Alabama, the best team in the country, play for the national championship, and him being cleared gives us that option.
Right, and you know, like I said, you know, our hearts do go out to the victim if she feels that way, but in the same time, we will never know what happened during that time. All right, so now we go to the overdose segment.
Overdose.
Now, all right, before I give you my real overdose, I actually had two people, and it was from almost the same incidents, similar in two different sports.
Okay.
You had Jason Kidd, you know, in the game against the Lakers. He has his player walk by him just to buy time, and he says, "Hit me," and boom, the guy hit him, knocks over his drink. They have to call a delay of game timeout. All right, the league hit him with $50,000 for that. Well, Mike Tomlin, he followed up with the two-step shuffle on Jacoby Jones' return, and he stuck his foot out there blatantly, because I don't care what you say. I saw him take one step to the end, and then he did that blatantly. So, and the NFL doubled down, this past Wednesday and hit him with 100,000. So they were going to be my overdose. But the NFL changed that. The NFL overdosed this week. Why did they overdose? Because they doing too much with trying to eventually take away a draft pick from the Steelers. And I'm not a Steelers fan at all. But at the same time, I thought the $100,000 fine was enough. And then to have this issue hanging over for the rest of the season and possibly taking a draft pick, I think that's a bit much.
I agree with you, and I was with you on board yesterday until I watched NFL Insiders. And what they broke down was there are 12 different tiebreakers amongst the NFL. So 1 through 7 has nothing to do with, margin of defeat.
Okay.
7 through 12 does. So the first 6 do not.
Okay.
But 7 through 12 does. If in fact the first 6 go by and there's still a tiebreaker and they have to use the 7th, which is the margin of victory, it would play a role. And because of that, they're considering taking the draft picks. Now, what I believe that they're saying is that if 1 through 6 is, if 1 through 6, the Ravens fall into 1 through 6, then they don't have to do that. But if once you start going with margin of victory, then they're going to definitely look into taking a draft pick. And once they said that, it made sense to me.
Okay.
Because the Ravens should have scored. And a lot of people try to say, well, no, we don't know that. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Jacoby was going to score. So that's, 4 points, because the Ravens only scored 3.
Right.
That's 4 points that took away from the game. So if by some chance that 1 through 6 tiebreakers go by and they still need a tiebreaker and 7 comes and that margin of victory takes place, then it's going to be an issue. I don't have an issue with the fine. I think it's fine. I think we won the game.
Right.
Let's not worry about that. I don't like the draft pick idea unless we got to go through number 7 of that tiebreaker. And then, I want your draft picks because you was wrong, my time.
Right, and being that y'all might not make the playoffs, we could possibly get Sammy.
I don't want him anymore. I want Mike Evans from Texas A&M.
Oh, wow, you just switched up Mike Evans. Mike Evans.
Sammy is Sammy Watkins from Clemson, and I no longer want him. Instead, I would like Mike Evans, who looks more like Anquan Boldin. So that's a little inside tip.
Well, hopefully we gave you your fix for this week. Be sure to tune in each and every week as we give you your hottest fix, sports fix, here at Sports Fiends. I'm your man, Uncle Mooka.
I am your girl, Rita the NFL chick.
We out of here.
Peace.
Can I talk my shit?
Talk that
Sure I can. Cause ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it anyway.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit. Say it. Talk that shit.